As you'll recall, we began this effort, most of you have been here with us, for a year and a half. The effort began about a year and a half ago, and it was prompted by the requests from citizens who want the city to do more to make recycling easier and more convenient, and encourage other ways to help save the environment for our future generations, to put less trash in the landfills. 2 statistically valid surveys conducted by the city in 2016 showed that there was broad public support for a new trash hauling system. In the citizen survey, and hear me out, because I know that all of you have opinions about this, but in the citizen survey, 79% of the people responded to the city council that they supported having recycling included in their trash rates. In the trash and recycling survey, 59% supported the single hauler if it would lower their monthly fee. So, but all that survey did was it informed the council that there was an interest in this subject. So what they asked the staff to do then was to look into this matter. And we all knew going in, this is a very complicated issue. It's a very controversial issue. So I would just have to tell you that at that point in the process, most councils would probably run away from something like this because it is very difficult to get to the right answer. But this city has a long history of looking at these kinds of issues in a very, very comprehensive way and coming up with what they believe to be the right answer. In fact, many of us work in the city because it's the best city in America to work. So there were also cost considerations. We learned with our early research that on average, homeowners residing outside of HOAs are paying 59% more than homeowners in HOAs that contract for curbside trash and recycling. So folks that live in HOAs, and I'm one of them, that have the benefit of having an organized program within their neighborhood are paying substantially less than some of our neighbors. Many people who live in Southwest Minster, poorer people, that are paying more for trash and recycling. So we took that forward. We also learned that Westminster's diversion rate, in other words, the rate that it diverts trash from a landfill, was one of the worst in the country. In fact, our diversion rate's at about 11%. In other words, 89% of our trash in Westminster goes to landfill. The Colorado average is 26%, and the national average is 34.4%. I know this sounds like I'm making a case. I'm giving you the background of this issue. I'm going to tell you at the end of the day, there's a lot of considerations, not just these things, but what our community thinks in this point in history, whether this is something that we can do. Our work over the past 18 months has focused on improving recycling and doing so in a manner that would create more competitive pricing for our residents. We've been working really hard looking at best practice programs all over the country to see, is there a way to meet everybody's needs in this issue? 2 weeks ago, after these months of deliberation and research, the City Council instructed our negotiators to see if improved pricing per household could be achieved while preserving the ability of individuals and HOAs to opt out without a fee. That was a direct reaction to the hours of testimony received by residents that they didn't want to be told they had to recycle through the city's program. There were a number of options identified that could help bring down the price. Those options have been communicated to the vendor of response. That negotiation's been ongoing. Along with those other options, the city's negotiators asked the vendor whether having a changed ordinance would help lower the price of service per household. Not that we promised that an ordinance could be changed, but was there a way that would help balance the playing field so they could do business in our city and then help reduce the cost of service to a number of members of our community. These were all shared with the vendor in a confidential manner in keeping with the spirit of negotiations. When you heard that I wanted to protect these as a confidential matter, it was because I wanted to protect the integrity of our negotiations with the vendor. This is all going to be released to you folks, ultimately, in a very short period of time, so you can see how we were in the background trying to make this work and figure out a way whether we could deliver this service to the community. You'll see all this information shortly. We are near the completion of negotiations with the vendor. When this is complete, we will present those facts to the City Council, which then can discuss and take the next steps to either move forward, to not move forward, or to look at some alternative. It's important to note that we are in the negotiation portion of this process, and that maintaining confidentiality is very, very important in that. So I'll just conclude by saying I've been sitting here listening to this and being quiet a long time about what's going on because, I didn't want anybody to have the impression that we had our mind made up or that we didn't respect people's viewpoints. I think the viewpoints and the dialogue that's happened on this has been very informing. We've learned so much about this subject. I don't know where this is headed for certain yet because we're not done, but I can tell you one thing. We have tried to do this in a way that was open, in a way that was thorough, in a way that would serve your best interests. That's why we're here. Today I celebrate my 39th year working in local government. And it just occurred to me as some of the folks were up here, and I haven't been here for 39 years, I've been here about 5 years. But I think all of us in this room and the people that you saw here earlier getting recognition, we're in local government because we want to do the right thing for you. That's why we chose to do this work, and I can assure you that we'll do the best we can to make the best recommendation we can on this issue. And I can tell you too that this city council is looking out for your behalf. I've worked with actually over 50 city council members in that 39 years, and these are the best of all those folks I've ever worked with. Thank you for hearing me